Welcome to the Tissue Box Podcast. I'm your host, Pam Jordan. Welcome back to another powerful episode of the Tissue Box Podcast. Today, we're honored to welcome back a returning guest who truly needs no introduction, but we're going to give him one anyway. He's a legendary radio personality, a voice you've grown to love, and a heart that's even bigger than his presence on the airwaves. It's none other than Big Mike. Yeah, I hesitate, but because if you know me and you know him, you know us. So that's how we roll, right? So Big Mike is here today. He's here to talk about the need for a kidney, his journey with kidney disease. So we're going to be serious about the kidney disease situation, but we're also going to have some fun because that's just who we are. So again, we certainly hope that you enjoy this episode and that you'll be inspired and you'll be encouraged and you'll have hope. We're truly talking about people who are in desperate need of a kidney. So we welcome back Big Mike to the Tissue Box Podcast. Welcome, my friend.
Welcome. Thank you for having me.
So let's a lot has happened since the last time you've been on the Tissue Box Podcast. Mm-hmm. Kidney disease you've been dealing with for a number of years now. But before we get to that, let's talk about your situation with your job. Can we talk about that? Because that has changed drastically since the last time we've talked, and I know that had to be difficult for you. So let's talk about that and how that situation left you feeling.
Absolutely. It left me empty. I feel like I poured so much into my job, and my job was so much a part of my identity, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I felt like my entire life was that job. It left me empty. And initially I felt hopeless. And I was just like, well, God, like, what's left? You know, because like I used the job to shield so much of what I was really going through.
I can understand that.
And keeping busy kept me from my thoughts. It kept me from how I was really feeling. It kept me from what I was really going through. So I was fired November the 12th. The reason being was budget cuts. The company that I was working for went through and they slashed the position that I had across the country. And as they were doing it, because it wasn't just me and it wasn't recent. They've been doing it for a while, but I thought that because I had such a big job, I thought I was going to be safe. You know, I had the two markets, and I felt like, you know, because of which I thought I would be safe, but no, I wasn't. So November 12th came, and I kind of felt like it was going to be what it was before it actually happened, because my direct supervisor called me the day before and was just like, hey, you know, are you busy tomorrow? And I'm just like, no, you need to come in so we can talk. And I'm just like, we can talk now. Oh, no, we'll talk tomorrow. Just, you know, come in or whatever. So I called him that morning, and I just knew going in that this is what it was going to be. I had a feeling.
You had a feeling?
I had a feeling. So I go in, him and his boss, they were sitting there, and I've been fired before. So when you walk into a room and they got them 3 pieces of paper.
Oh yeah.
You know what it is. So she, the general manager, she started with, you know, fake asking me questions about my health and about my journey towards transplant. And I'm just like, well, I'm making strides. Thank God I got insurance.
Why did you feel like it was
Because
fake?
all along the way, it's been hell working. From being mandated to work through dialysis to having it was no walk in the park working with this disease that I have. So I felt along the way that they didn't care. So this was just the icing on the cake. So when I said, well, thank God I got insurance, she looked at my direct supervisor and he looked at her and then she was like, well, I'm just, going to get straight to the point. Because I don't like to beat around the bush and pussyfoot, as she said. And I was like, well, okay. And she said, well, we're going to have to let you go. And my heart just dropped. I'm like, huh? And she was like, oh, no, it's not due to performance. It's not due to anything like that. We love the work that you've been doing and da 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 da. And I ain't hear nothing else after that.
I was getting ready to say, let's talk about your heart dropping, because
Yeah.
nobody really wants to hear those words anyway, especially when you're in a situation where you desperately need your health insurance. So when you hear this and your heart at that moment and you're feeling your heart drop, what are you thinking? What's
I'm
going
thinking,
through?
how am I going to survive? Like my thought process was, how am I going to survive? At that point, I didn't hear none of the words they were saying. I thought, how am I going to survive? A lot of people don't know this, but anytime a patient sits in one of them dialysis chairs, that's $10,000,
What?
right? That's $10,000.
And how many times do you do
Three
that?
times a week. 3 times a week. The dialysis, the medication. I take about 20 pills 3 times a day, right? So I'm thinking, how am I going to get the treatment? How am I going to get this medicine? How am I going to survive? And then I came back and I was just like, God gonna see me through. And I got my stuff together and I tuned back into the conversation and I was just, like, okay. They had me sign my separation paper and she was going over, severance packages and all that kind of stuff. And I was just like, okay. And then the last thing I asked was, what about my kids? And I say kids because those radio stations were my kids. You know what I mean? Like, what's going to happen? And I looked to my supervisor and I was just like, well, I'll have Shashi do this, this, and this. And he was just like, Mike, you don't have to worry about it no more. And I was just like, well, you know what? You're right, bro. Got my stuff and I walked out and that was it. And on my way home, I was, still thinking like, okay, God, we're going to have to do this, and this. Like I just bought the house and all these different things. And I'm just like, well, it's going to work itself out. It's going to work itself out. So those were a rough couple of days.
I remember when you called me to tell me that, and I was like, "What? Whatever." Because you're a jokester too, and I was like, "No way." He was like, "Hold on a minute," and that's when you got Shy on the phone, and you got all three of us on, and that's what you said, and we were like, "What?" Unbelievable, like from out of nowhere. And then my first thought was, of course, your health, and everything that you were going through and everything that you have to go through because of your illness. And I'm thinking, with no insurance, how in the world are you going to make that happen? But God is bigger than any situation. We know that. So how have you been since then?
I've been better. Obviously, every day is different, but I've been better. Luckily and prayerfully, God has just been showing up in every aspect of showing up. So as far as insurance goes, I applied and got approved for Medicare. So I have that. Medicare is now paying 80% of my treatment and insurance or in medications and things like that. And then I did another interview where I was talking about, kidney disease and the fact that I lost my job and I lost my insurance. And somebody spoke up and said that the American Kidney Foundation will pay for your insurance. So I applied for I got with my social worker at the clinic and we applied for that. And they are now paying the other 20%
Wow.
through Cobra for 9 months. So for 9 months, I have to not worry about how am I going to pay for medicine because I got fired November the 12th and this didn't start to January 1st. So initially I was, taking my medication sparingly, like I'll take it every other day to try to get it to last because I didn't have any more. And like one of them was like $780 to fill. That's the most expensive one to fill. And then the other one was like 2 something, 3 something, like it added up. And I was just like, well, I can't afford to fill all these medicines, plus live, you know what I mean? So, I was taking it like that for a while. And then, a friend of mine told me to get my doctor to extend my refills, so that before my insurance ended on November the 30th, I can get 2. Or he would give me an increased quantity to get me through that next month. So I did that. So I was able to fill them before the insurance ran out.
Wow.
And then I started the stuff with the Cobra and the Medicare January 1st.
Wow. So how did you keep your sanity?
A lot of prayer. A lot of prayer.
I know we talked a lot. We talk almost every day. But you always sound the same though. And I know
a lot of people say that.
Yeah, you always sound the same. And I'm like, no way. He's got to be dealing with some things. I know him a little bit better than that. He's got to be. So are you okay? Let's go out. Let's go take a drive. Let's go eat. Let's go do something, to try to get your mind off of your situation. But knowing everything, that had to be tough, trying to dig yourself out of going into a depression, because with all of the events happening back to back to back, one after the other, you almost feel like, what am I can't take this. And you almost like want to give up.
I have moments, but I try not to have many of those moments. It's just a lot of prayer and a lot of trying to convince myself that everything that I'm going through, like I believe that everything that I'm going through is really for somebody else. I really think that it's for somebody else, and God wouldn't have put all of this on me if I couldn't handle it. So I try to remind myself of that every day. I've joined a few kidney support groups on Facebook. They help a lot. I also joined a men's Bible study. That helps a lot. And just trying to figure this thing out. So
can we talk about your dialysis treatments? I know you said 3 times a week, right? And these are real early appointments. For those of us who don't know what all dialysis entails, can you talk us through a day of dialysis?
Yes. I get up at 4:30. I get there at 6. I run for 5 hours.
What does that mean?
That means that I'm on the machine for 5 hours. So they put these rather large needles in my arm. My graph is in my arm, my upper left arm. And like you can feel it. You want to feel it vibrating?
No.
No. Okay.
No.
It's my lifeline. Right?
Yeah.
It's really my lifeline. So they put these needles in and connect me to the machine, and the fluid, waste, and blood from your body is constantly running out. It's being cleaned and returned to your body, and it's like a constant cycle.
And you're seeing this while it.
Okay. And you feeling this while it's going.
What does it feel like?
It feels like your life is leaving out, like your soul is leaving out your body. That's how it really feels, because it's like you're cold because you're like freezing, not cold. Let me make sure you understand that you're freezing because the blood is leaving your body and then it's
Wow.
coming back. Your blood pressure is constantly up and down. They monitor your blood pressure constantly. While you're on the machine, obviously they have maybe 30 or 40 patients at the same time. So they're monitoring each of us every 15 minutes. But it's times where you slip out. Like your blood pressure can bottom out and you could be like dangerously, like people have died on these machines. That's just how bad it can be.
Wow.
Like I've had a situation where my blood pressure had dropped to like 60 over 30. Like I was literally out of my body, and it was an out of body experience. Like I remember seeing my body sitting in this chair and me not being in it. You know what I mean? Like it was
Really?
that bad. And obviously they'll run over and they'll give you, fluid, saline, to try to bring you back and all this kind of stuff. They call it bleed back. So they'll, try to pump your body full of fluid to get you back. Yeah,
Wow.
it's something. And you're sitting there and, some people try to watch TV or some people sleep or do whatever they can do while they're doing it. But like your body goes through so many different changes while you're on this machine.
And when you're done, what you said it's about 5 hours.
Well, people run different times.
Right.
Depending on your stage, depending on
What stage are you?
end. I'm end stage. So like there is no, it's over. You know what I mean? So I have end stage renal failure.
When you say that, I know how that made me feel. How did it make you feel to say that? For those words to come out, have you?
I've said it so much, and I feel like, well, no, I don't feel. I know that this is the year that I'm going to get my kidney because the average expectancy for somebody to be on dialysis is 5 years. This is my 5th year.
Wow.
So I know that my kidney is coming. I know that it's right around the corner. So like I've said it so much, I'm just.
So after a day of dialysis, you're drained. You're pretty wiped out. You're pretty tired.
Some days I have, good days where I'm able to do something else after, but most days I'm just done.
Wow.
Like that 5 hours is all I got to give.
Wow. You told me about the situation with your disease and what it's doing to your vision. And what you have to go through to be able to continue to see. Can you talk about?
Yes.
Can you talk about that?
Every 3 months I have to go to Palmetto Retina Center for them to check my eyes, and they go through a bunch of different tests. They go through a bunch of different procedures, and they put these big needles. They stick my eyes with these big needles.
Wait a minute. When you first showed me about this, I was like, no way. They're sticking a needle in your eye, and this has to be done in order for you to be able to see. Talk about that, because I can't even imagine.
Yeah, they numb it up, but you still feel it.
How do they numb your eye to stick a needle in
A bunch of
it?
different drops.
Oh, so they're putting they're
A
putting
bunch of
drops.
different drops and a bunch of different solutions and all that kind of stuff. But you
So when they're
still
doing-
see this big old needle coming at you.
That's what I was getting ready to
And
ask
they
you.
strap you down. They put this thing on your face so that you can't move.
They strap you down.
Because you be wanna, your natural reactions is like, whoa, but you can't move. And you don't really want to move, but you want to move because you don't want nothing to go wrong or whatever. But he put it to me in the lamest terms as possible and said that if I don't do this, I will go dark.
Wow.
So it's like, I want to see. I want to live. So I'm doing everything. Like somebody asked me a while ago, what you doing? And I'm just like, whatever it takes to save me.
Hey guys, thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Tissue Box Podcast. We are super excited. This episode is being sponsored by KUWC Solutions. If you would like to be a sponsor of the Tissue Box Podcast, see details below.
You know, whatever it takes.
So is this in both your eyes? You have
It's
to get
both eyes.
How long does that process take? How long does
It's a few
just
hours.
I mean,
the actual needle is maybe a couple minutes.
Can you describe that feeling?
Not really, because like you numb, but you still feel it, and mostly because you see it. Like you see that pain. You know what I mean? Like you see this big needle coming at you, and it's like nothing you can do. But you know that it's for your good. So to me, I just feel like it's something that I got to do.
Wow. You've been through a lot. You're going through a lot. But this is the year you're going to get your kidney.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
So talk about your event that you got coming up that we're also excited about.
So March the 2nd, it's called Gift of Life. Some friends of mine came to me. I had did a live on Facebook, and I was just talking about my situation. One day I was leaving dialysis, and I just had, and that day it was just like, I just gotta talk. I just gotta get these feelings out.
Yeah.
So I did a live on Facebook, and I broke down, and it was just a lot. So a couple of days after that, 3 friends of mine came to me and was just like, we got to do something. Like we need to, we got to do something. Like you can't go through this on your own. So maybe we should do a fundraiser or something. And they got together and they brainstormed and they said, well, we need to do an event. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm with whatever you want to do. What you need from me.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit more. A day or two later, a friend of mine, Phil, who lives in Charleston, called me and was like, well, maybe we can have a brunch or maybe we can have a dinner or sell some fish or do something to raise some funds.
Nothing like a good old fish fry.
Nothing like a fish fry. And I was just like, well, we can put that with this and we can do a big event. And, you know, March is National Kidney Disease Awareness Month. So let's do it in March. So we put all of that together and we came up with Gift of Life. It's March the 2nd. It's at a venue called The Hub in Madison, Wisconsin. It's going to be a 5-course meal. It's going to be a cocktail hour with complimentary wine. It's going to be a silent auction. It's going to be raffles. It's going to be a program. It's going to be dialysis patients giving their stories.
Okay.
It's going to be kidney transplant recipients giving their stories. It's also going to be a big awareness event where the senior director of the University of Wisconsin Transplant Center is going to be the keynote speaker.
Nice.
I've also teamed up with the National Kidney Foundation. They'll be on hand doing kidney screenings for people who may have kidney disease and don't
not even know it
because there aren't any symptoms, especially when you're early stage. So it's like early detection can save your life. So it's going to be a wonderful evening.
It's going to be a big event. Looking forward to it.
Thank you.
So do you think you just said that there's no symptoms for kidney disease, but we know that you are a diabetic.
Diabetes and high blood pressure are the 2 leading causes of kidney failure.
disease. Okay.
So when I say there's no symptoms, oftentimes there aren't detectable symptoms, or you don't realize that your kidney, you may think it's something else. Like for instance, if it's pain in your lower back, you may think that, oh, my back hurt, or maybe I slept wrong, or maybe you dehydrated. But pain in your lower back could mean your kidneys are failing. Sleep can be a factor in kidney
Really?
disease. Yes. All kinds of things. Like for me, I noticed that there was a problem when I realized that I hadn't urinated in a couple of days. And I'm just like, well,
A couple of days?
yeah, I've lost my function completely now. But before, I was just like, man, I haven't been to the bathroom in a few days. And then it turned into a week. And then it turned into 2 weeks.
Wait a minute. So you have the urge, you just
You have
can't?
the urge, you just don't urinate. And you really, like now, I take a medicine for the urge because the urge can cause other things. And it can lead to, UTIs and things like that. I shouldn't get the urge because I don't have the function. So I take a medicine for that too.
So where does that come
The
out?
through dialysis.
Oh, okay. I'm learning. I'm trying to understand because this just is like blowing my mind here. And I know there's a lot of people watching who don't really know. Yeah.
Fluid is retained. They check my feet and my legs for swelling. Sometimes my face will swell. My arms. It's just retained in your body. It doesn't release at all. Wow. So that's why I'm on the fluid restriction. So I'm supposed to only drink 32 ounces of fluid a day. But those 32 ounces count for everything that's fluid that you drink that day. So if I eat rice, the water that was boiled in the rice, that counts.
What?
If I eat cereal, those sips of milk, that counts. Like it's 32 ounces, period, for the day.
Wow.
Now me, I be over that.
I know.
But I try very hard to not drink that much fluid in a day.
Wow. You going through a lot, bro. I mean, for real.
You telling me.
And then with, you walk, now you have to walk with assistance, right?
Well, that's because I have back issues, and then I also had half of my right foot amputated. Another complication of the diabetes. So it's just a lot.
And how old are you, Michael Bell?
40. I just turned 40, September 26th.
Do you ever deal with the fact that how can I be going through this and I'm so young and I haven't really lived my life, what do I do?
I have had those moments, but it goes back to me saying that I go through this for somebody else. That's why it's so important for me to get this awareness out so that it can save somebody else's life. I feel like that's my new purpose. My new purpose is to give the gift of life to somebody else and to realize that it's bigger than me. Like there's hundreds of thousands of people that are on the waiting list for a kidney. There's millions of people that may have kidney disease that don't know it. You know what I mean? 1 in 4 Black people, African Americans, will have kidney disease in their lifetime. 1 in 3 people, but 1 in 4 Black people will have kidney disease in their lifetime. You know what I mean? So it's like if it's 4 of us, one of us, well, obviously me is the one, but would have it. So yeah, it's my new purpose to get this awareness out and to understand and let us know that this thing affects us more than anybody, and we're less likely to get the transplant.
So let's talk about the transplant and the waiting list. How is that? That's got to be like nerve-wracking.
It's very nerve-wracking. I've been dealing with this since 2020, and I've been evaluating since 21.
So what are some of the things that they evaluate?
They evaluate everything. The way I sit down, the way I stand up, how strong my hands are, how much strength I have, how wide my stomach is, how my BMI, how much I weigh dry, how much I weigh wet. they evaluate everything. How you lay down, how you sit up.
It's crazy.
It's everything. All of that is wrapped into one. You do strength tests when you go in and evaluate, and then they evaluate your mental. Like you have
Oh, no. Yeah.
social workers. Like when you go in for an for each appointment is an evaluation. You go in, you see maybe 5 or 6 professionals that day. So it's like planning to do nothing else that day because you're going to be at this hospital all day seeing all these different people. But you do it with, the hopes that your number going to get called sooner than later,
What is your number?
I don't have one. I mean, them calling me to tell me that
Where are you on the list? How does that work?
I'm not on the list yet. I'm still evaluating to be on the list.
What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So when you're being evaluated to get on the list, you'll just get a phone call eventually that says,
say you passed all the tests, you're on the list. But the great thing about that is that from the moment you get on dialysis, that time counts. So like I've been on dialysis since 2020. All of this time counts. So when I get on the list, it'll be like I've been on for however long.
Do you have any idea how many people are waiting for a kidney?
Hundreds of thousands of people
waiting to get on that list.
Mm-hmm.
And most of them are us.
Yes. When I go to treatment, there is majority of the clinic is us. There may be 1 or 2 Caucasians, but mostly us. And what I stress the most when I'm doing these interviews is that it starts with what we eat. Because we eat all the wrong things. The breads, the sugars, the starches, the grits, all of that. And because it all breaks down to sugar. That's why we are, highly affected with diabetes and highly affected with high blood pressure. So if we change that, then we could change all of it. You know what I mean? So that's why African Americans are most likely, because they have the most diabetes and the most high blood pressure. So early detection saves lives, and something that we don't do, especially black men, we don't go to the doctor.
Oh, tell it.
We do not go to the doctor for nothing.
Why is that? You a black man. Tell us why.
I don't know, because I go.
Oh.
I have no idea, but generally we don't go to the doctor. But when we do go to the doctor, or when we start going to the doctor, we got to ask questions. When we get there, don't just get there, but we got to ask questions and become our own advocate. And especially with kidney disease, there's 2 different tests that you can do. So when you get there, ask questions like your creatinine level and your BUN number, or your BUN levels and things like that. Those
Most of us don't even know what
we don't,
are.
but we need to, because it affects us more than anybody else. So the last time you had a checkup was...
Let's not talk about it.
Well, did they mention your creatinine levels? Did they mention?
I did. No.
See?
No.
That's kidney function.
Okay.
And they don't talk about it. We don't talk about it. Like, we don't discuss kidney disease at all. So when you get to the doctor, you have to ask these different questions so that you can know, what's going on with you internally. I
think when we go to a doctor's appointment regularly, we have in our head what we want to say, but I know, and I'm guilty of it. Sometimes I just freeze when the doctor, comes in. I forget everything that I wanted to ask.
See, I'm like that too. I'm guilty of that too.
Yeah.
But one thing that I go to Hope Health, and one thing I do like about them is that I have a portal where I can go in and I can write questions to my provider, and I can say, well, hey, I forgot to ask this in the appointment.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of cool.
I'm so proud of you for bringing all of this awareness to kidney disease. I mean, because you taught me some things during this interview that I didn't even know. So I'm really proud of you. Me and you like frickin' frat. I pray for you daily.
Thank you.
It's like we're in this thing together. And I'm so excited about your event that's coming up in March. And I really believe lives will be changed.
Absolutely. Lives will definitely be changed.
Through your commitment to educate us, the community. And about kidney disease, because this is everything that you've gone through. Nobody wants to go through that, but it all starts with the decisions that we make, the food that we put into our bodies. And but what I'm most proud of, though, is Big Mike is still Big Mike. Even though everything that you're going through, and I know it's got to be tough sometimes. I know it's tough sometimes. I've been there, when I can hear the cracking in your voice when we're having a conversation. And I'm like, I just pray that the Lord will continue to give you strength to persevere, because this is good stuff that you're doing. And I do believe that this is the year you get your kidney. I do believe
Amen.
that. I am just claiming that right now. It's going to happen. And we're going to be singing, and we're going to be dancing and jumping and for joy. Because you've got so many people in your corner, and so many people that are praying for you and wanting the best for you.
Amen. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing. You're a tissue boxer now, so you can come back anytime.
Okay.
And again, I'm really proud of you for the way that you've been able to stay true to yourself. And I know it's tremendously hard. But, I got your back.
For more details on me, my story, how you can help, how you can donate, how you can actually take the health questionnaire to become a donor, you can log on to my Linktree. All of my information and links are there. It's embellish926. I'm looking to do a gift of life here locally in South Carolina. So all I need now is just the venue. I have everything else. I have access to everything else. If you're looking to become a sponsor, you can reach out. My information is below. Gift of life.
Well, thank you for watching this episode of the Tissue Box Podcast. We hope that you've learned a few things. We hope that you've enjoyed this episode, and we would like for you to like, subscribe, and comment on this episode. And until next time.